The nights had started feeling colder even when he was lying next to me, and I couldn't ignore the distance growing between us. He had become quieter, his smile forced, his presence more like a shadow than a partner. At first, I told myself it was just stress from work, maybe pressure I didn't fully understand, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. The messages he would quickly close on his phone, the sudden late-night meetings, the way he avoided my touch, it all stacked up like silent warnings I chose not to hear. I buried my doubts under routine, convincing myself we'd find our rhythm again. Still, I couldn't shake the heaviness in my chest whenever he left the house. I wanted to believe our story wasn't unraveling, that the man who once made promises under the stars still meant them. But every look in his eyes told me otherwise. I was clinging to a version of us that no longer existed, afraid to face what the truth might reveal. I had no idea how close I was to it, or how brutal the discovery would be. I never imagined it would come crashing down in the worst possible way. That I came home earlier than usual that evening, carrying the kind of exhaustion that makes you crave comfort. The house was too quiet, the kind of silence that makes your pulse pick up for reasons you can't explain. I walked through the hallway, every step heavy, and then I heard it, a muffled laugh, low and intimate, coming from behind the door. My heart stopped, my breath caught in my throat, and I pushed forward as though something inside me already knew. The sight waiting for me felt unreal, like stepping into a nightmare I couldn't wake from. Clothes out of place, his voice stumbling on excuses that didn't exist, her face frozen in shock. They both turned, and in that instant, time fractured. My chest burned, my body went cold, and all I could do was stand there, staring at the life I thought I knew unraveling in front of me. My mind screamed, but no words came out, just the deafening thud of betrayal pounding in my ears. He walked in at the worst possible moment, and I saw everything I was never meant to see. That image seared into me, branding a truth I could never unsee. The silence after that moment was more violent than any words could have been. I felt myself shaking, not from rage at first but from disbelief, as if my body couldn't process what my eyes had seen. He tried to speak, stumbling over explanations that meant nothing, while she grabbed her things in a rush, leaving behind the smell of guilt that clung to the room. I finally found my voice, but it wasn't loud. It was sharp, controlled, and cutting in ways louder screams could never be. Every question I asked, every accusation I hurled, was met with his pathetic excuses. He swore it was meaningless, that it just happened, that it didn't change what we had. But his words fell like broken glass, slicing through whatever love I once held for him. I saw him for who he truly was, a stranger in the skin of the man I once trusted. My tears came then, not from weakness but from the weight of every memory now tainted. In that moment I realized betrayal doesn't just destroy trust. It rewrites every chapter that came before it. What we had wasn't just damaged, it was shattered, and there was no way back. When the storm inside me finally settled, something unexpected happened. I didn't collapse the way I thought I would. Instead, a strange calm spread through me, as if the worst had already passed and there was nothing left to fear. He kept pleading, reaching out, trying to grasp what was already gone. But I no longer saw him as my partner. I saw a man who had made his choice, and in doing so, freed me from chains I hadn't realized were holding me down. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I didn't even argue anymore. I simply told him it was over, that whatever excuse he carried meant nothing against the truth of his betrayal. His face crumbled, but mine did not. I walked away that night carrying no promises, no guilt, only a clarity that felt almost liberating. Love had left me long before his infidelity revealed itself. This moment only forced me to see it. What happened next wasn't about revenge or forgiveness. It was about reclaiming myself, my worth, my peace. And as the door closed behind me, I knew this wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of one I would write alone.